Well, 1.13.5 is out already, and with it comes new daily login rewards. These daily login rewards have some notable drops, like 650 energy spread throughout. There's also void shards, there's epics for free, and there's at the end a legendary, which actually looks pretty cool, kind of like a dragon-looking character. The character herself is kind of all right, not too completely amazing, but it's just kind of okay. As terms of the last 180 days here, you actually start getting some like haste glyphs. See, 2 sets of haste glyphs here. There's also divine speed artifacts here, divine crit rate. So that's pretty nice. And there's a couple more shards in here too. The daily login rewards, like that. Okay, that's good. Now let's move on here to the news. Now they dropped this news here, the huge feature update, which is the 1.13.5. So let's see how huge this is. Now, the new Platinum tier reward system, we've talked about this before. They said, we've taken your feedback on the board that we've implemented a new Platinum tier reward system. Can you guys hear those birds? There's birds out there. Just shut up, birds. New Platinum tier system. We've taken your feedback on board that we've implemented a new Platinum tier reward system. From now on, you can receive gems, sacred shards, skill tomes, legendary artifacts, and even exclusive avatars from Platinum tier chests. We've also added new types of chests depending on your position in the tier. So first, right off the bat, this is good because we need more rewards for Platinum tier. I've been vocal in saying the Platinum tier is basically not worth it, which is the reason I'm not chasing it at all. This will change. I will now be chasing in Platinum tier as there's more things coming out, which we're about to get into here. And this is kind of where it gets to the part where people are kind of 50-50 on how they feel about this, or maybe it's more like 80-20. So there's 3 types of Platinum tier chests. There's the ones for the top 3 players, there's ones for the top 20, and then there's ones for the top 300, which is just everyone in Platinum. So at the very top 3, they get like a special avatar. Nothing, that's going to benefit them massively. It just shows that they, they're cool icon. I mean, that's it. It's just an icon, okay? However, in all of the Platinum tier chests, the swift parry and deflection sets are going to begin dropping. This is the only way to get those sets currently. I wouldn't be surprised if they start selling these at some point, much like they did the haste glyphs at one point that they said was going to be logged behind Faction Wars. So deflection and swift parry sets are completely disgusting in terms of how strong they are. The speed on the swift parry set is objectively better than the speed bonus on speed sets. Same with the crit damage is objectively better, as well as you get a chance for unkillable, which is absolutely crazy. This is in arena. This is going to be insane. I mean, honestly, insane. Deflection set is very good as well. It gives you HP and defense bonus, and it gives you a chance to deflect debuffs back. So if they have a torment and they're freezing or stun setting you, you can reflect that back now too, which that's ridiculous. Okay. On top of it, that's absolutely ridiculous because if you have that on everyone and it's an AoE, you can reflect those back pretty much all of the time. Think of it. If Tormund does an AoE and freezes 2 people, okay, each of those have a 25% chance of reflecting it back. That means Tormund has got to dodge both bullets, okay, not to get frozen himself. That's crazy, which means you can use Tormund if you have him now or purchased him earlier, to build yourself up in your account, get these sets, and then stay in arena, I believe. Now, it's going to take some time for all of these sets to really come to fruition. I'm going to butcher all these words today. It's going to take a bit for them to fill up, basically, is what I'm saying, for enough of these sets to show up that they can make complete top-tier gear sets out of this. So we're not going to be locked out Platinum tier arena right off the bat. It will be a slow, gradual, steamrolling process, okay? Now let's move on to the new badges of honor. Starting now, players who finish first in Platinum tier will be recognized with a special badge next to their name, counting the number of first place finishes. I think this is great too. It really affects a small amount of people, only the people getting first in the world every week, right? But for the people that are doing that, that's fantastic because there is some competition going on between the top players and they basically want comparison. And that's really what's going on for that there. Now they're mentioning here the daily login rewards. We've already talked about those, so we're going to move on to talking about the characters now. Three, two, All right, so here we have Dark Elaine, Lordly Legionnaire, and Skill of Drakes. So let's go ahead and look at, we've already looked at the Legendary I talked about a little bit earlier, but I do want to show you in the Bannerlords, Lordly Legionnaire here, which is basically a character out of Dark Souls. I think that it looks fantastic. I love the fact that they made him a Dark Souls character. If you look here, his moves are all right for maybe like Spirit Keep, it's healing reduction here. Decreases speed, and then the last one, reflect damage and continuous heal buff on all allies. This is basically tuned for like Fire Knight, but yet he's a magic affinity, which is kind of weird. That's kind of a little bit unfortunate in the affinity there. Now, the new character here, Cillian the Lucky, which is the new extremely racist Irish figure here. And we have attack an enemy 2 times, and each hit has a chance of gaining decreased speed, but each hit also has a chance of stealing target's turn meter. That's 30% of the target's turn meter. So that can be kind of ridiculous because you can book it all the way up to 50%. So he hits twice, and each hit has a chance of stealing 30%. You can do the math. That can steal a lot of turn meter. Now, the other moves are kind of a little bit lackluster. I only say that because his base speed is low. He has 98 base speed. If you look here, attack one enemy, 85% chance of blocking cooldown. That can also affect all enemies, but it's 100% when you book it on one person, but when you have it booked, it's only 50% chance on the rest of them, okay? So it's everyone 50% chance, one guy 100% chance, block cooldown. This would be good in Arena if he was really fast, but his base speed's not that high, so I kind of get a little bummed out about that. You know, he needs to be an opener for that move to really be fantastic. And it also can be resisted. If it said this cannot be resisted, I would love him a lot more. And then here he attacks an enemy. Fully booked is 100% chance of a stun debuff for 1 turn. And it would be a 50% chance of stun debuff for 2 turns instead. And if it does the 2-turn variant, then it also steals 50% of the target's current turn meter. So that's not 50% turn meter, that's 50% of the target's current turn meter. So if they have 70%, he steals 35% total turn meter. If that makes sense, okay? Damage is based upon attack, which is consistent with all of the moves. He has a passive, much like the Shamrock move, which gives him a random buff at the start of each turn, essentially. Now, this is one of the only other characters now that has strengthen built on him as well, and he also can get block damage, increase critical rate, increase critical attack, increase critical damage. So, strengthen and increase critical damage, 2 of the new moves. Not bad on a new character. He has pretty high base attack too at 1400, which is kind of interesting there, but his speed's low, and his HP's low, which is kind of a bummer, and his aura gives him ally attack in all battles. So he's okay, but I'm just really not that excited by him, to be honest. Maybe I can be proven wrong, but that's how I feel about him. Now, the other character that we have, which is, oh my goodness, who was it? Okay, there's Bannerlords. Let me see if I can remember. There's Bannerlords. Was it the Undead? Nope. Yes, it was. Dark Elaine. There it is. Dark Elaine. Wow, that's actually a really cool look if you look at her. It's the first time I've had a chance to look at the character. That's a nice, she's right up there with Drake in terms of looks. She's got a little bit of the dye in the hair to show that. Yeah, isn't this basically a ripoff of Win Sylvanas? Or what's her name? Windrunner Sylvanas? Maybe not. She's supposed to be a dragon. Okay, so you attack an enemy, decrease target's max HP. No one cares about that stuff, okay? Here we go. Places 50% increased attack buff on this champion, then attacks all enemy, and has a chance of placing decreased speed debuff. That's pretty cool that it does the attack buff first, and then attacks all enemies. It makes me wonder if she places the buff and gets frozen, if she completes the attack as well, like if they qualify together, if she attack buffs and then gets frozen by Torment and no longer can do it. Which makes me think of the passive, because if you look, fills the champion's turn meter by 25% and instantly activates the Death's Majesty skill whenever this champion or an ally receives a freeze debuff. So if you think about it, this could be a weird loop where it's like Torment freezes her, it removes the freeze and then does Death's by Majesty, which makes her do the increased attack up. So then she gets it frozen again, so it activates again. I'm not really sure how those are going to interact. I'm assuming that the freeze has to happen after the attack in order for that to work, but it says it does the buff first. I'm not sure. We'll have to do some testing. In this here, it says instantly remove any freeze debuffs on this champion and replaces them with a 30% increased crit rate buff, a 30% increased crit damage buff, and a 15% strength buff whenever an enemy places a freeze debuff on this champion. So again, I want to know the order of operations, because it could be like 50% increased attack and attack. Oh, but you got frozen for this, a 50% increase. Okay, so remove the freeze buff. give her the buffs, and then activate this again, which makes her do the attack again. But because she got the attack up again, she got frozen again. Like, this will give her a buff too. So it could trigger in a row. Like, if you see what I'm saying, it could go like Torment freezes her. She gets increased crit rate. She does an AoE, but she freezes off the increased crit rate. So she does the AoE again, which gives her another passive, which freezes her again. Basically, if you ever on the team, I wonder if there's a cooldown on this, because it says 1 turn. It says 1 turn, okay? But it says that instantly activates this move. So that must not count as a turn, okay? That must just happen between, like an Uno skip. You know, you jump in with an Uno card. That's kind of what happens. So I'm assuming she gets frozen, activates the AoE, does the damage. If she gets frozen again, the passive is still on cooldown. Her turn comes, her turn is skipped. This is then on cooldown again. You know, it's off cooldown, I mean. So now her next turn, she could be able to activate, but if she gets frozen, she instantly removes this, gains turn meter again. I think that's the way it goes. So I'm pretty sure that she can still be frozen up to her turn, and this will not automatically trigger every single time because there's a cooldown on that. All right, I think we got it solved. Okay, boys. That's the update on this one. So long story short, Dark Elaine, pretty good, I think, for Torment. The other characters, you know, Lordly Legionnaire is a cool Dark Souls looking guy, but they should have made him Spirit. That was a up. If he was Spirit, he would have been way better. And then Drake, the new Drake character, is kind of just protection. You know, it is what it is. I'm not really that excited by her, but she looks good. Okay, guys, I love you all. Thank you for subscribing, liking, commenting, all that stuff. I'll see you on the live streams for the Switch giveaway, and have a great day.